Initiation by shadow, the dimensional door hiding in your deepest fear. There's a truth that most spiritual teachings won't say out loud. It's too raw, too confrontational, too real. But I'm going to say it right now because if you're here, watching this, you're not afraid of the truth. You're hungry for it. So here it is. You will never fully enter the fifth dimension until you've made peace with the third's darkest corridors. You can meditate for hours. You can chant, journal, visualize, raise your vibration, drink green juice, burn sage. But none of that will unlock the actual gate to the 5D timeline until you face what still haunts you in the dark. The fifth dimension isn't just a love and light paradise floating above the world. It's a state of consciousness where truth reigns supreme, and truth requires wholeness. Not just your light, your shadow too. Think of it like this. The fifth dimension is coherence. It's alignment. It's harmony between all parts of self. But how can you be coherent when half your soul is locked in a basement you refuse to enter? How can you align with your higher self when your inner child is still frozen in trauma? See, the shortcut isn't up, it's in. It's down. Through. Into the parts of your psyche, your energy, and your memory that you've tried to outrun. Facing your darkness isn't spiritual regression. It's dimensional initiation. And once you realize that, the game changes completely. Now let's break this down with absolute clarity. What is the fifth dimension? Let's strip away the fluff. It's not a place. It's a frequency bandwidth. It's where timelines collapse into presence. It's where polarity dissolves into paradox. It's where you no longer operate from ego, but from embodied soul intelligence. But here's the catch: soul intelligence doesn't reject any part of you. It contains everything. That's what makes it powerful. And that's where most people get stuck. They want the magic of 5D vibration, but they're still avoiding the pain of 3D density. And that avoidance creates fragmentation. And fragmentation creates delay. And delay becomes lifetimes. But not for you, because you're ready to stop bypassing. You're ready to walk into the places that still echo with silence. You're ready to sit with your anger, your grief, your loneliness not as a victim, but as a witness. A sovereign observer who knows that the only way out is through. Let me tell you a story. There was a point in my journey where I thought I had ascended. I had downloads coming in like lightning. I was channeling. I was seeing numbers. I had visions. I thought I was soaring. But inside, something felt off. Like there was a weight pulling me down. And no matter how high I went, that weight followed me like a shadow. And then one day, during a deep meditative fast in the mountains, I heard a voice not external, but from inside my bones. It said, "Stop running. Go back to where you lost yourself." And I knew instantly what it meant. I had to face the darkness I had buried, the trauma, the shame, the guilt, and not from the mind, but in the body. I had to feel it, sit with it, let it speak. The moment I did, something unbelievable happened. My visions didn't get dimmer, they exploded. My body didn't collapse, it activated. The vibration I had been chasing for years, I found it, not in the light, but in the integration of light and dark. That's when I realized the secret. The fifth dimension isn't the peak of spiritual evolution, it's the result of radical wholeness. And wholeness only comes when you stop rejecting parts of your human experience. So what does this mean for you? It means if you're going through waves of sadness, confusion, rage, or disorientation, it's not a sign you're failing. It's a sign you're ascending. You're cracking open the vault that holds the keys to your upgraded timeline. But if you numb, avoid, or suppress what's coming up, you delay the very breakthrough that's trying to reach you. You have to feel to frequency. You have to descend to rise. You have to stop seeking escape and start seeking embodiment. Let me ask you something radical. What if your fear isn't the blockage, but the breadcrumb? What if the very thing you've been afraid to face is the exact thing that will quantum leap your consciousness into the next octave? What if what you thought was darkness was actually compressed light, waiting for your attention to set it free? This is the paradox the universe is built on. Duality isn't the enemy, it's the engine. The more shadow you can hold without collapsing, the more light you can stabilize without floating away. That's how you ground 5D consciousness into the body. That's how you become the bridge, the portal. Not someone who just visits higher realms, but someone who embodies them on earth. The people who try to skip this part, the ones who chase high vibes without facing low truths, they end up floating, disconnected, unstable. They speak light, but vibrate confusion. Their manifestations don't land. Their energy feels off because they haven't integrated. The body still holds the residue. The mind still runs on fear. The soul is awake, but the vessel is still asleep. But when you face your darkness, you become magnetic. Your aura gets dense in the best way. People feel you before you speak. Your words land like lightning. Your presence shifts rooms. Not because you're performing, but because you're whole. And wholeness is the most irresistible frequency in the universe. So here's what I want you to do. Find the thing you've been avoiding, the emotion, the memory, the pattern. Sit with it, not to fix it, not to release it, but to witness it, to say, I'm not afraid of you anymore. That alone will shift your vibration faster than any technique, because you're no longer fighting reality. You're embracing it fully, and that embrace is the frequency of the fifth dimension. Dimensional alchemy, the 3 codes that turn shadow into light speed ascension. Now that we've shattered the illusion that light alone leads to the fifth dimension, let's go deeper. Let's talk about the mechanics, because this isn't just philosophy. It's not just poetic truth. This is energetic architecture. You are a multi-dimensional system, a living, breathing frequency field. And when you face darkness not as a threat, but as a code, when you stop making it wrong and start seeing it as raw, unshaped potential, you access a level of speed, clarity, and manifestation that linear ascension can never touch. This is what I call dimensional alchemy. And there are 3 sacred codes that make it possible. 3 inner technologies that allow you to transmute shadow into fuel for higher states. Not by escaping the density, but by digesting it with precision. Because once you learn to metabolize darkness, you become limitless. You stop fearing contrast. You stop hesitating at the edge of discomfort. You start moving through initiations others spend lifetimes avoiding. That's not just ascension, that's dimensional leadership. Let's begin with the first code, presence over polarity. Whenever darkness rises in our field, whether it's grief, anger, fear, shame, the ego wants to label it. This is bad. This is low vibration. I need to clear this. But the 5D self doesn't label. It listens. The moment you drop the story and meet the emotion as pure sensation, the polarity starts to dissolve. You're not choosing light over dark. You're choosing truth over narrative, and truth is neutral. It doesn't panic. It doesn't resist. It just witnesses. This is your first alchemical key, to sit with the shadow without naming it wrong. To feel the grief in your chest and say, this is a frequency, not a failure. To let the rage move through your bones and say, this is sacred energy, not danger. When you do this, you stop pushing against the wave and you become the ocean. That's how you start to stabilize higher dimensions inside the now. The second code is embodiment over escape. Most people try to leave their bodies when the shadow hits. They go into their minds. They jump to affirmations. They try to raise their frequency. But here's what you must understand. Your body is the only place where true transmutation happens. You can't think your way into 5D. You have to feel your way through it. Your nervous system is the altar. Your breath is the bridge. Your bones hold the blueprint. So when you're feeling low, don't run. Drop in, breathe into it, move with it. Let it shake you. Let it burn through you. The more anchored you become in your body, the more light your system can safely hold. That's why ascension isn't about going up, it's about going deeper in. The more you root into sensation, the more you become a clear vessel for higher states. Not just for moments, but as a baseline frequency. Let me give you something practical here. Try this the next time shadow rises. Sit down. Close your eyes. Let go of all interpretations. Ask yourself, where is this in my body? Don't analyze, locate. Then breathe into that exact spot. Slow, deep, rhythmic breath. No goal, no timeline, just reverent attention. Within minutes, you'll feel a shift. Not because the shadow is gone, but because it's been seen. And what is seen in love begins to dissolve. That's embodiment. That's alchemy. Now we reach the third code, creation over control. This one is big, because once you start transmuting shadow, you'll feel a massive surge of energy. Like you've just unearthed the battery that was buried for years. And here's the mistake most people make. They try to control it, box it, direct it. But this energy isn't meant to be managed. It's meant to be created with. The third alchemical key is to channel the energy into expression, movement, art, words, music, business, anything that allows the frequency to take form. Because this is what the fifth dimension is really about. It's not just about feeling good. It's about creating new structures of reality from a unified state. The old paradigm says heal, then act. But the new paradigm says create, and healing will happen through the process. So when you finish crying, make something. When you rage, move your body. When you feel stuck, write the truth you're afraid to say out loud. That's how you metabolize shadow into gold. That's how you collapse timelines. That's how you quantum leap, because you're no longer waiting to be ready. You're alchemizing in real time. Let me ask you something that might unlock everything. What would you create if you stopped waiting to feel perfect and instead started creating from the exact frequency you're in right now, even if it's messy, raw, or broken? Because that's the portal. That's the fast track. Your shadow isn't blocking you from the fifth dimension, it's carrying the key. Now here's the real shocker. Once you master these 3 codes, you realize something wild. The darkness you feared wasn't even yours. It was collective, ancestral, inherited. You were just the brave one who chose to feel it, to hold it, to transmute it. You weren't being punished. You were being entrusted. That's why it felt so heavy, because the universe knew you could take it. And once you alchemize it, it doesn't just free you. It frees every version of you across time. That's the ripple. That's the dimensional shift. That's why facing darkness is the fastest shortcut to 5D, because it collapses the illusion of separation at the root. So now, you're not just healing, you're restructuring reality. You're not just feeling emotions, you're rewriting timelines. You're not just surviving shadow, you're creating light from within it. That's what no one tells you. That's what they leave out of the books and the mantras, because it's not easy. But it's real. It's raw. It's revolutionary. And it's yours. In the final part, we'll go cosmic. We'll explore the multidimensional mechanics of 5D embodiment, the difference between accessing 5D and living it, and how to architect a life that holds higher states without collapsing back into old patterns. This is where your life becomes the technology of ascension itself. Living the frequency, how to architect a 5D life that doesn't leak into 3D loops. Let's get honest. Accessing the 5th dimension is not the hard part. You've probably already touched it. In a moment of deep presence. In a dream so vivid it felt more real than waking. And in a conversation that dissolved time. In a silence so full it felt like the universe was breathing through you. The 5th dimension is available, right now. Not tomorrow. Not after you've healed more, cleared more, fixed more. But here's the real question, the one that separates the seekers from the architects. Can you live there? Can you hold the frequency when life gets messy? When the old programs resurface? When fear claws at the edges of your field? Can you stay 5D when the world goes 3D? That's the edge. That's the mastery. Because the real challenge isn't accessing high states, it's stabilizing them into your structure. It's building a life that doesn't just visit expansion, but embeds it into your nervous system. It's making your body, your relationships, your schedule, your choices all resonant with the frequency of truth. That's when you stop oscillating. That's when you stop leaking. That's when you stop bouncing between alignment and collapse. And that's when your life becomes a transmission that others feel before you ever say a word. So how do we do this? How do we architect a 5D life that doesn't collapse into 3D loops? First, we need to understand what causes the collapse. It's not failure. It's not weakness. It's resonance mismatch. You experience a breakthrough. You touch the infinite. You have a vision. And then you return to a life, relationships, routines, environments that were built by your old frequency. And when your reality doesn't match your new vibration, your nervous system gets confused. You either shrink back down to match what's familiar, or you try to force everything around you to change instantly and burn out in the process. But there's a third way, a quieter, deeper, more powerful way. And it starts with this principle: frequency must lead, structure must follow. That means before you change anything outside, you must anchor the new frequency inside. But you don't rush to fix your life. You become the new resonance first. You rewire your nervous system to feel safe in the new frequency. You train your system to normalize the expansion. Because if your body still thinks peace is unsafe, love is dangerous, or success equals abandonment, it will sabotage every 5D gift you call in. Not because you're broken, but because your system is wired for survival, not presence. And presence is the portal to 5D life. So here's the first step: nervous system coherence before life coherence. Every morning, before checking your phone, before doing anything for the world to tune, sit, breathe, feel. Ask your body, what frequency am I holding? Not what you're thinking, not what you're doing. What are you vibrating? If it's fear, meet it. If it's peace, amplify it. If it's chaos, breathe deeper. You don't fix your frequency. You witness it into coherence. And coherence is the signal that starts pulling reality into alignment. This is not morning routine fluff. This is quantum infrastructure. This is where timelines are built. The next step is micro-alignment over macro drama. You don't have to blow up your life overnight. You don't need to quit your job, leave the city, or end every relationship in one go. That's trauma response masquerading as awakening. What you need is micro-alignment. Tiny, high-frequency choices made consistently. Saying no when your body contracts. Saying yes when your soul expands, even if it scares you. Drinking water with presence. Listening without interrupting. Resting when the world demands hustle. These choices seem small, but they are frequency stabilizers. They train your field to stay coherent in motion. And coherence in motion is the 5D operating system. Now we go deeper. To live 5D, you must also master the art of resonant boundaries. Not walls, not rejection, but clarity of field. You must become so attuned to your own energy that anything out of sync becomes obvious. And instead of judging it, you bless and release it. You don't need to demonize others to stay in your truth. You don't need to convince anyone. You just hold your frequency and let resonance do the sorting. This is energetic maturity. This is what keeps you from leaking energy into arguments, proving your worth, or rescuing people who are committed to their loops. You stop being a fixer. You become a mirror. And only those willing to rise will remain. Let me ask you something that will shift everything. Who would you become if you stopped trying to be relatable to the frequency you already outgrew? Because that's the collapse point for most people. They rise, then dim, just to stay connected. But connection built on contraction is not love, it's bonded distortion. And the fifth dimension won't hold it. It will dissolve it. Not to punish you, to liberate you. So here's the final key. Build your reality like it's a temple for your soul. Every object, every conversation, every habit, let it reflect your frequency. You don't need luxury. You need resonance. You don't need perfection. You need intention. Your home becomes a sanctuary. Your relationships become sacred mirrors. Your work becomes a transmission. Your rest becomes a recalibration. Your silence becomes a broadcast. This isn't about aesthetic. It's about energetic design. You're not decorating a life. You're architecting a field. And that field will tell reality how to respond to you. Not because you commanded it, but because you became the match. And when you live like this, when your inner state becomes more consistent than your external circumstances, something miraculous happens. You stop chasing timelines. Timelines start chasing you. You stop trying to manifest. Life starts mirroring you instantly. You don't need to control. You just need to remain coherent. That's the final truth. The fifth dimension isn't a reward for being spiritual. It's a structure you install through daily alignment. It's a rhythm, a choice, a devotion to wholeness, not just in the light, but in the dark, in the body, in the breath, in the moment you want to run, but choose to stay. That's where it lives. That's where you live now. So I'll leave you with one final question. What would your life look like if you stopped making decisions from fear and started building every part of your reality from the frequency of already being free? Because that's the path. That's the shortcut. That's the dimension you came here to anchor. And now you remember. You were never here to escape the world. You were here to recode it from within. Welcome home.